Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. That neighbor is a stupid guy. He not only stole, but did it to a dude with cameras all over, which he knew about. Then he tried to threaten his neighbor and his wife and dogs, but conveniently forgot he has a illegal lab/grow area in his house that can easily be reported if a neighbor even suspects it. Honestly, the stupidity of people is mind-numbing. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Piss me off? Have fun with SWAT. This happened about a year ago. I had just returned from a business-related trip to the frozen north, Canada, of which I'd been gone for about 8 months. During this time, my wife had kept me apprised of everything going on in the neighborhood, as well as her suspicion that our new neighbors behind us were trafficking illegal substances. Since I'm all about keeping my family safe, I install security cameras all around and inside my house. Most of my neighbors were perfectly fine with the cameras, and a few asked if I could set theirs up if they bought them. Bad neighbor, however, was not pleased. He waited until I was heading out to my car and confronted me, demanding I take them down. Neighbor: "Hey, take those mother effing cameras down. I don't need no one knowing my crap." Me: "Nope, they're watching my property. Can't see into your yard at all." Neighbor: "Man, F you. Take those S's down or I will." Me: "If I ever see you on my property, you'll leave in a body bag." At this point, I know my wife's suspicions were well-founded. I watched the camera feeds and started noting that he had a lot of quick visitors around 3 a.m. Cars would pull up in front of my driveway, he'd meet them, exchanges were made, and the cars would leave. Not too long after, I got a motion alert on 2 of my cameras and my dog started going nuts. I saw my front door handle move. It's go time. I grabbed my shotgun and rushed to the front door, but as soon as I tried opening it, my beagle tried bolting outside, howling at the trespassers. Unable to deal with him and properly hold a 12 gauge, I opted to keep my dog and yelled at the 2 men standing there to get the F off my property. That night, my motorcycle was stolen. They broke the locks off, and every camera on the ground floor had to be repositioned and replaced. I checked the footage and watched as our neighbor walked up to them and hit them. I was done being a bystander. I contacted the police, but even with security footage, they claimed there was nothing they could do. I was furious. I knew who did it, had the proof, and there was nothing I could do about it. Yet. For the next couple days, I studied municipal and building codes. I started filing report after report on my bad neighbor. Broken down cars in the yard, that's a violation. Broken gutters hanging off the roof, that's a violation. Barking dogs after 10 p.m., that's a violation. I nickel and dimed them for anything I could, hoping to goad them into doing something. I put tainted gas in a gas can in the back of my Jeep, which was unsurprisingly stolen, and suddenly their dirt bike engine blew up the next night. Bad neighbor confronted me again, threatening that if the complaints didn't stop, he couldn't guarantee my dogs or my wife would be safe. Heated words were exchanged, he stormed up to me, and the encounter ended with weapons drawn and both of us going back inside our homes. Finally, the coup de grace. Remember the security footage of that neighbor's late-night visitors? I filed a report and included everything: license plate numbers, car models and colors, all the information I gathered for the past few months. They got enough security footage for a search warrant, and the other evidence made sure it wasn't a friendly visit. I got to watch the security cameras as SWAT descended on their house. I got to see my neighbor and everyone else led out in handcuffs. I later found out that the dogs I had called about were being bred and used as bait dogs. The police confiscated a small arsenal and enough illegal substances that those a-holes won't be out of jail until I'm retired. And our second story. When everything breaks and customers act like it's somehow your fault and a personal insult to them. I work at a hardware store as a cashier, and on Friday, I was by myself on the lumber end of the store at what are called the pro registers due to being located next to the pro desk and being frequented by contractors, aka the pros. About 2:30, I noticed there was some significant slowing down of the register processing card transactions. We recently got new, in quotes, because everything my store gets is refurbished and or hand-me-downs from other stores who were lucky enough to get brand new equipment, pin pads which, while still buggy, were significantly more usable than the old ones, which had a bad tendency to only work perfectly for maybe 25% of the transactions. One of the big improvements, other than being fairly certain that no, it really is the customer's chip being broken and not a 50-50 toss-up of the pin pad just not working to read chips again, was that they're significantly faster at processing transactions. Also, when searching for items on the online cashier book, system that's supposed to list items from the store and have a function to search things from if they don't have a barcode, but has the worst search functionality I've ever seen, aka the OCB, was running even slower than usual and giving me more connection errors than typical. Then the lone pro desk worker started having issues with his phone. In the middle of a call with a customer, the line started breaking up, so he tried to move the call to the other phone at the desk, only for the phone to decide to reboot itself the second he lifted the receiver from the cradle. All else failing, he ended up calling the guy back on his personal phone and kept dealing with weird issues with the phones for another 30 minutes. At 3, I get sent on my break and notice that the store Wi-Fi has gone from slow but mostly functional to completely unusable, and now people are having issues with the time clock saying it's not connected to the network when they try to clock in or out. Well, this is going steadily downhill. Get back from break and continue checking out the sparse customers. Now customers who try to pay with a card are getting declined. First guy ran his card a second time and it went through, but the next couple of people couldn't get it to work at all. So I sent them to self-checkout in the hopes it was just my register having weird issues. Next thing I do is try and call my head cashier to see if they're having issues on his end of the store. Oh, would you look at that? The phones are now completely down and nobody can contact each other anywhere in the store. And now a customer's trying to call the non-functional phones, which rerouted the call to the overhead PA system, and it's endlessly ringing. Yay! So as I'm sending customers down to the other end of the store saying my register isn't working, I'm trying to get a hold of anybody to see if they can tell me what's going on, so I text my supervisor's personal phone hoping he sees it quickly. Again, no luck, and it takes 15 plus minutes and several more customers before I finally hear back from somebody over the walkie-talkies we use for our lot loaders, and they inform me that, yeah, all phones are down, which took down the internet, or the other way around possibly. All I know is one going down took out the other, which then took out our ability to process card transactions. They're now trying to inform an assistant manager. Again, no in-store phones are working, so can't call him directly, and nobody's sure where he was at first, to see if he could figure out what was going on. So then I get the joy of informing customers coming in that our system can't currently take cards, which means cash only. We can't currently look up, process, or release any online orders, and we can't get a hold of anybody that isn't within shouting distance. Luckily, we're not very busy, at least on my end of the store, but the first customer I get who came in before we started having the issues seems to take it personal that something went wrong with our system and that I can't take his debit card as payment. I apologize, but he just goes on a rant about how he needs all this right now and we should know when our system will be back up. Yeah, sure, I've totally got clairvoyance. And how is it possible that it went down and blah, blah, blah? Can he leave this on hold with us and we call him back when the system comes up? Nope, sorry. We only do will calls for items that have been paid for. We don't hold unpaid items because they take up space we don't have. And anyway, I highly doubt the will call system is even currently functional at the moment since nothing else is currently working. By the time this guy's done ranting at me, he decides to add more items to his order, which is already well over the couple hundred in cash he had on him, and then informs me that we're going to become friends because he's going to stand there in front of me until the system comes back up. 4:30 hits and it's time for my lunch, and another cashier comes down saying that they've had luck running debit cards as credit and to try that, which I suggest to my customer to get him out of my face. He completely ignores my instructions to run it as credit and puts in his PIN, but by some miracle the transaction went through. I get a hold of Lumber to get the guy the rest of his stuff, listen to him bitch about a couple more things, then make my escape to get lunch. By about 5, everything got fixed again and we didn't have to continue to listen to customers whine about a technical issue we had no control over. But it was a long 2.5 hours of dealing with weird slowdowns and then a complete system crash. Later heard from another coworker who came in after everything was over that it was possibly a widespread issue since he stopped at another store before he came in, and they said they were also having internet problems. Also, another cashier said a customer said they lived in a nearby neighborhood where everyone also lost internet. So who knows? But you gotta love customers who think we personally made our system crash just to cause them issues, because we definitely love hearing them whine and complain about it, and the company definitely wants to lose money intentionally just to cause some grief. And our last story. My neighbor excavated my dense yard without permission. I own a wooded lot on a private lane in Utah. The water main and 4 lateral water lines lie on my property. The utility easement recorded lies on the south line of my property running east and west. One of the lateral lines belongs to my neighbor to the northeast. His line broke, so he took a full-size excavator through the dead center of my property and leveled everything in its path running north and south. My once dense yard became a highway for a trench to put in his new line. There's no recorded easement for him to do what he did, and there was no conversation or handshake over the fence granting permission. He claims he has the right to do that because of a prescriptive easement and an easement by necessity. We felt completely violated and devastated that he leveled about 30 trees and thick underbrush that can't be replaced. He didn't want to replace any of it if it could. It appears he put a new water line in where it was the most convenient for him, not even where the previous line was, where these houses were built in the late 70s. We thought it was very gallant and hired a lawyer. Guess who we sued the crap out of, and now he owes us a tidy sum. That's right, our jerk neighbor who started something illegal without knowing the laws of our state. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.